So, Tattoos of a Lover. Tell me a bit about how this song came together, the story behind it, how long you've had it, all those sorts of things.
Well, funny enough, the guitar chords I've had for a long, long time, probably nearly 10 years.
Wow.
And it was a song called Never Going Back that I played a lot live when I first started. In fact, even when Paul and I went over to the States and did a run of gigs over there, that was the song we opened all the shows with.
Oh, wow.
And then I really liked the song, but, you know, it just felt a bit dated. And I was playing around with the chords, and then I had an idea for a song and I wrote some lyrics and then put the lyrics to those chords. So I kind of reworked an old song.
Is this something you'd been trying to rework for a long time, or has it just been on the back burner sort of thing?
Not really, because usually when I finish a song, it's parked. And it's like, I might record it, I might not. But I don't think I've ever really used guitar chords from an old song and redone it. I mean, I've never properly recorded that song, so it didn't really matter.
Yeah.
But I love the title, and the whole song was constructed around that title. Yeah, it's about being friends with a girl and you being protective of her because you're a good friend, and never thinking that anyone she's with is going to be good enough. And you're right, you know, and doesn't get treated great. And then you kind of fall out. And it was just, I love the song. I think it tells a great story, and especially the bridge in the middle when it really breaks down. And it's a longer bridge than I would usually write, like the way the lyrics flow and the vocal melody and all that kind of stuff. So it was one that, you know, again, with most of these songs, I wasn't expecting them to come out as good as they did.
Yeah.
And I think because we had the flexibility with the production to just relax and enjoy it and try different things, it came out great.
Not try too hard with them, I think, is like, you know, because we gave ourselves those restrictions, you know, everything that went on there needed to add to it. It wasn't just chucked on there. So, you know, the mood that the song creates with like the atmospheric guitar and stuff like that really kind of is embedded in the story. And one thing I really love about this album is you kind of listen to one song and you think, oh, that's my favorite. And then you listen to another and you're like, was this my favorite? Like, because they all kind of weave into one another in terms of how they sound. When I heard this song, I was drawn to the title. It's immediately got intrigue. But I think over time, this has become one of my favorites because it's quite laid back in how it's told. And you could have come in and this song could have been like a fast, you know, in your face song, but it's actually went the other way and it's quite emotive and it's quite sad. And yeah, it kind of pulls you in loads of different directions.
There's a few songs like that on this album that if I'd recorded them years ago, I wouldn't have had the confidence to record them stripped back. They would have been like
you can kind of sit
big
back
songs
on the lyrics and allow it to like do its thing. Yeah, there would have been, it could have easily been, you know, if it was Wild Child era, it would have been like a big banger of a song and it still would have been great.
Yeah. I think also that's experience of standing on big stages armed with just an acoustic guitar. And after years of doing that, my confidence felt great that I was fearless of it was just me and a guitar. That was fine. I could almost face anything. And that gave me the confidence to do an album like this in that way. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. I guess just to talk about production wise with this, you know, it's a bit of a theme throughout the whole thing is, you know, we chose to double your vocals or sometimes triple your vocals.
Was that from when you read up about doing Nebraska, or is that just a decision you made? It was definitely would have been your decision because I wouldn't have thought of doing that kind of stuff. I would have been like, just hit record.
No, it is a bit of an older technique. You know, they didn't have auto-tune back then, and it would be like, you know, it kind of covers things up, but it also makes things a bit more like not otherworldly and kind of like you know, takes you into a different kind of headspace rather than just a singular vocal. And I don't know, I just thought it really suited these songs for you to have like a layered vocal. And again, that's also something different to what we tend to do. There would be layered vocals, but it would tend to be harmonies, you know, on previous records. But this was like a conscious decision to give the vocal an identity throughout.
Well, yeah, this is the first record I've done without any harmonies. And it's great because you do get to hear the words. It's such a word and lyric based record that was definitely the right decision to do that.
You know, you make those conscious decisions to be like, okay, let's prop up everything we want to have at the front. And
well, I think that was, you've just sort of reminded me there. I can't remember what I read somewhere about when you're presenting your work, and it sounds so obvious to put your strength at the front of whatever you're doing. And that was something that I'd lost along the way. My favorite part about being a musician and making records and writing songs is writing the lyrics. And I think that's probably where my strength is. I think I'm an okay guitarist, and I know I can put a song together, but if I had to hone in on one thing that I think I'm really good at what I can do and what I know that I get feedback from is my lyrics. And I don't know why it took me so long. It's probably just a confidence thing about just being raw and making sure that everyone can hear every word. And that was something that took me a long time to have the confidence to do.
Confidence, you know, and like, you know, you're in your 30s. Don't look it, by the way. But
I don't know how all that touring and beer drinking has kept me looking younger, but
you know, and a lot of your other records are written in your 20s, when you also, it's not to go forgotten, because like you also were a drummer first. So like you had to have a transition from being behind a kit to being right at the front with a guitar, which was new for you, obviously exciting. And then you got thrust onto big stages, and also probably playing with people who their songs aren't necessarily about lyrics. So it kind of veered you that way, and that made you make certain decisions. So it, you know, your 30s is when you start thinking like, I don't care, this is me. I think this record feels like that, you know.
But there was also when you're doing, you know, big support, you know, work, you know, supporting like bigger artists, you know, I can comfortably walk out to, you know, thousands and thousands of people, but they're not there to see you. So your words aren't going to cut through as much. So I tend to play my catchier, poppier songs because you're there to get the audience on your side so that they become your fans. And the more I was on the road, the more that was becoming a priority. And I was losing myself, what I'm really about. But it's difficult because you have to think, you know, if you're on your own, like I am, you're on your own label and you're your own manager and all that kind of stuff. It's hard to keep switching hats. And to be fair, I did have people saying it to me as I was touring and I was putting out records, like Mike Hickey, who played on this album, played the banjo on Keep the Fire Burning, like really good mate of mine. And I remember him saying a little while ago, he was like, don't lose what you're about, because you can put a catchy song together, but your best work is the stuff that you really mean. And that always comes across at my own gigs, which you've played plenty of, when you see how much songs like Only Here Once mean to people. And when I wrote that and recorded it, I didn't think anyone would be bothered about it because it was just for me. But it was so honest and pure, and I really meant it. And then after a while, you're like, should write some more songs like that, you know?
It's really hard to remember. Yeah, I'm just glad you've sort of come back to it, because I've been kind of rooting for the same thing. You know, we speak a lot, but you don't always listen.
You sound just like my teachers at school, you know. Yeah.